What is up, guys? It is Sarah. I am here with Branden Harvey for another episode of That Creative Life. So Branden Harvey is a storyteller. You call yourself a storyteller.
I guess so.
So what are your main mediums that you storytell on?
Man, I feel like I'm storytelling all over the place right now. I just started a podcast. That's been super fun. But historically, I've been telling stories on Instagram, through photography, through writing, and then on Snapchat.
You graduated college a year ago. And so tell me, what did you study? How did you get into photography during that time? You said you started at the age of 16 years old. So what did that look like for you when you were doing school too?
So I moved from this small little town I grew up in where I got started in the world of photography to Portland, Oregon, which is in a lot of ways the exact opposite of that town. And I love that. And so while I was there, I was just exploring this new city, experiencing this new kind of lifestyle, living in the heart of a city. I was living right downtown, would walk everywhere. And I just started kind of documenting that experience as I went. But I was also going to college at the same time. And as my career kind of grew, as I started getting more and more jobs, as I started to get to travel more, I would just skip school and go and fly somewhere real quick, fly back, do homework on the plane.
Incredible.
It was such a bizarre experience.
Yeah, that's so good because I feel like you have to do you. So if school's for you, do it. If school's not for you, there's a lot of different alternative paths that you can take out there. But kind of speak to when you're in school, you can't just head down, be completely focused on that piece of paper at the end of the road.
Yeah.
Kind of talk to the importance of you have to get out there and actually do real world things. And was it, I'm sure it was hard. Were there late nights? How was that kind of life?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so the big thing is that if you are studying photography, or I wasn't studying photography, I studied marketing and advertising, but if you're studying something and you want to go into a creative field specifically, coming out with a piece of paper will never get you a job. That will never guarantee you anything. So when you're at school to learn and to connect and to take opportunities. And so my big thing was that I started just getting to know people. A crazy thing you can do is when you're a college student, you can show up and be like, hey, I'm a college student. Can I learn from you? And people will tell you everything that you want to know.
That's so good.
And so taking opportunities like that, I would sit in the back of classrooms and edit stuff while listening to the professor. You can kind of just I don't want to say multitask, but you can kind of just use this as an opportunity to learn, but you have to go hard on everything else at the same time because when you come out of school, if you just have that piece of paper, you're never going to get a job. You're never going to get a creative gig. You have to be able to show your value with your work.
Yeah, that's so good because there is so much freedom with college. It's so much hard work, but I feel there's this freedom associated with it that you don't have in high school, and you can go and explore and stuff. So that's good. So he is an amazing Snapchatter. I followed him for several months, and he's amazing at storytelling, and he uses Snapchat in an amazing way to do that. And so kind of speak a little bit to storytelling. I love gear. So I'm a photo video person. You guys know I love gear, but what is king?
Yeah.
Story, right? That's what's engaging people.
Yeah.
And so Snapchat is literally just your iPhone.
Totally.
And so what have you found that's been different and fun about Snapchat and how you can leverage that to just storytell?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and that's been my process through this whole journey of every platform I've used. I've gone from, oh man, I love this gear, I love what I can do with it, to basically saying, how can I strip this down as much as possible? And so I started seeing all these people who would buy camera gear, they'd buy stuff, and they'd call themselves a photographer, they'd call themselves a filmmaker, and I was getting a little bit frustrated because I was like, is it the gear that determines the impact you can have with your craft? And so that's when I started shooting photos with my iPhone. I started basically saying, I'm going to use this guy and I'm going to shoot photos with it. And it's going to be it's going to be the way that I get gigs. And so I started just using it to shoot photos. And I got hired by all these brands to shoot photos because they didn't know I was shooting on my iPhone.
Right.
That's
amazing.
So funny.
I love that.
As soon as Snapchat came along, I was like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to tell stories without all the gear. Just it's so stripped down, it's so easy. Sarah is hardcore because she edits all this, she makes everything look amazing. But the thing is that Snapchat makes it so easy. No editing, you just shoot everything in order, like I did back in the day when I shot on like a little handheld camera when I was a kid.
That's amazing, yeah.
And so, I don't know, there's just something really powerful about just going out, creating stuff, and not worrying about all the things that kind of get in the way of that.
Yeah, that's so good. So good. Branden, you have a podcast. What is it called?
It is called Sounds Good with Branden Harvey.
Yes,
my
and
name.
That's amazing. I love it. And I've just recently started podcasting because you guys know I'm obsessed with music. And so I'm the type of person that if my ears are free and I'm not listening to music, I just feel like I'm cheating on music if I listen to anything else. It's weird. Yeah. But I recently got into podcasts, and the startup podcast is what got me into it.
So good. I love the
So
startup podcast.
I just subscribed to Sounds Good, and I'm so excited to listen to it. And so tell me a little bit about what that focuses on and what you talk about, who do you talk to, and stuff like that.
So Sounds Good is basically this podcast focused on these people. Like, there's a special community of people in the world who use their platform to make an impact in the world. Or, you know, it's maybe not even that. They don't let cynicism bog them down. They don't let kind of the darkness of the internet and of the world, you know, like the news, the bad news of the world, get them down. And they just live lives with hope and optimism and joy. And so Sounds Good is basically a conversation with people like that.
That's good. That's awesome. That's so cool. And the internet. Everyone knows the internet is the best thing in the world, but at the same time, it can be so negative, like so negative. And especially, I mean, luckily when I was in high school, I didn't have that pressure of like, how many likes was my Instagram gonna get?
Gosh, I'm so glad.
I know, because there's like this pressure, I feel like, on especially younger people to have like certain online standards and stuff. And with that comes like negativity. So, I mean, what is your advice to anyone out there that maybe is, I mean, we're getting a little deep here, but maybe is like struggling with negativity online and kind of like how to counter that and how to maybe find the good out there in the internet?
Yeah, man, that is a fantastic question. The big thing that I would say is just go seek out the good of the internet. Like you basically, you get to decide what you're following. You get to decide what you're not following. And so for me, I've just kind of cast out all negativity from the internet. So like if I'm following somebody and they just keep on saying things that are really cynical or like kind of cutting or biting, I'll just be like, I'm going to unfollow them or I'll mute them, you know, if I don't want to offend them or whatever. But I'm just like, I don't need to put that into my life. And then I'll just find people like Kid President, Humans of New York, like these amazing people that are absolutely going to be on the podcast at some point soon. Like I'm going to follow along with their journey because they're bringing so much hope and light to the world. And so that's the big first thing. The second thing is find a way to compliment somebody online every day. Like that's something I try to do.
That's so good.
So you just find something that they did that you like, no matter how famous you are. Like the other day I tweeted Ashton Kutcher and I was like, oh dude, I really like this thing you did. And it's like, he's one of the most followed people on Twitter. But it's,
that's so good.
But it's just the act of doing that is so healthy. So find people, celebrate them. If I were to have a third thing, I think it would be to make a rule for yourself where you say, if I died right now and this tweet that I shared, this YouTube video, this Vine, this Instagram, whatever, was the very last, like this remained at the top for the rest of the world, like would I want this thing to be what people know me as?
That is so good.
Because the truth is that one day our kids are going to like be able to scroll through our entire digital lives.
Hello.
And so it's like a matter of
major key right there. That is.
It's just a matter of like deciding, you know, who am I going to be? Who am I going to represent myself as?
That is so good. And another thing with that, I feel like when you're building up other people and you're speaking encouragement into other people's life, I feel like that just seeps into every facet of your life because it has a lot to do with like your outlook on things. Maybe, you know, if people are feeding negativity to you, half of it I feel like is kind of up to you to flip the script.
Oh, totally.
And you put out those positive vibes and you might bring some back. And so I feel like that's a big part of that. If you had one thing that you can put out into the world to this audience, what would it be? Like what would you say?
Dang.
It's a big question.
I know, that's good. The big thing that I can think of is like you get to choose the story that you're living and you get to choose what your goals are. You get to choose the goal that you're aiming for and like choose wisely. And the thing is you get a lifetime to figure out what that goal is. But start just kind of like aiming towards the right things. Like if your goal is to become internet famous, like that's not going to be as healthy of a goal as like, I want to become somebody that loves people well. I want to be somebody who people admire. I want to be a good friend.
Yeah, and something to that, if you're good at something, you want to be known for it. You know, I mean, that is like completely healthy, but guys, you gotta be good at something. So take this time to like develop, be true to yourself, because once you figure out what you're good at, what you like, there's a way higher possibility of you succeeding in that area than it would like you trying to be someone else.
Totally.
And so,
and you really have to round yourself out in that process of figuring out what you want to do. And the thing is like, so right now, my full-time thing is that I like make Snapchats and make podcasts. And that job didn't exist like 2 years ago.
Right.
So like I could have never known that that was the trajectory I was heading. So so this is one of my favorite pieces of wisdom ever. It's from Conan O'Brien when he had to leave, I think it was the late night show. And he said, you know, like, if you work hard and be kind, amazing things will happen to you. And that's the way that I try to like live my life is I want to work hard at the things I'm working at, and I want to be kind, because there will be people who remember you for being kind, and that'll give you the leg up and the opportunities years down the road. And if you forget that part, then you fail. If you don't actually put in the work, then your trajectory is not taking you anywhere. So
and look around at the people around you. Like, life sucks without being able to share those fun things with people. I mean, yes, go be the best filmmaker you can be. Go be the best photographer you can be. Go be the best like tax IRS person. Like, you can be creative in anything you do. But it's like, you gotta come up for air every now and then, look around, look at the people around you, because like that's what makes life good. It's like the people, you know?
Yeah, I saw this great quote the other day that basically, it said something along the lines of, you know, sometimes you get so bogged down like in the middle of your thing that you're doing that you forget the perspective that like somebody who does something totally different thinks that what you do is amazing. And that's so awesome. Like, when you are working hard in your like little bubble, that's awesome. Like, hustle, grind, get all that done, but then also come out and like appreciate the beautiful things other people are doing that are totally different than you, because other people are totally appreciating those things in you.
That is so good. And that's a wrap.
Perfect.
I think, that is amazing. Make sure to go check out Branden, obviously on Snapchat. Your Instagram feed is bomb. And his new podcast. I am so excited to dive into that podcast. And it was fun. And thanks for joining us on a Creative Life
Thank you for having me. This is so nice.
Yeah, awesome. See you guys in the next video.
See you guys.
Awesome.
Make sure to hit like,
subscribe. If you dig this episode, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe button for more. And then tap right here in this square. It's a mystery button. So if you tap. And we're doing something very cool today. We have a chair, one of my chairs, and he is going to like spray paint it, tag it.